So I know a lot of you are getting into spray paint, but just sometimes don't know how to go about that process, especially if you're trying to do a lot of realism or blending. And I want to do this tutorial just showing you exactly how I do eyes in a portrait, mainly because that can sort of help you do a lot of other sort of things you want to render when it comes to just spray painting. And it's all about layering, especially with my process. So I use a doodle grid, and then I do pretty much a lot of color in the background that I can use in my portraiture as well. But the main thing that I always focus on is going from dark to light, and that is because I want the darkest parts of anything that I do to sort of be the base of it. That way it's not about trying to be like a printer and sort of go side by side with the color. Basically it's just layering, colors on top of each other based on the value, how bright they are. So this is me just carving out this sort of eye and eyelid and different parts of the eyeball, and then using colors that are lighter and lighter and lighter to sort of go on top of that base coat that I just added. So like this part right here, I'm just putting the dark blue in the whites of the eyes, mainly because that's going to serve as a base. So I don't have to sort of add any dark colors afterwards, only just carving stuff back, but I'm using the dark blue just to add as the base and then going on top with a lighter color. And you can see me doing this now. Basically adding a lighter blue, just going down the line when it comes to the values of the blues. So I usually will have like all the different blues that I want to use lined up, and I'm just going down the line and just adding, and then I'm starting to fade it out. So like near the pupils of the eye, that's where a lot of times it's the brightest. So that's sort of like where I'm coming from, and then angling the spray paint can and the tip so that the overspray sort of shoots over to sort of the corners of the eye. That way basically I'm not getting too much overspray, but if I do, I can always cut back as well. And then when I get really light, I start to use more detail in there, so that's why I'm using a spray shield or the tiny pink. I have a video on the tiny pink. It's basically a way of getting really thin lines without having to do a ton of work. So this little tool that you can attach to spray paint cans really helps out. And cardboard, like I'm using now, is also another tool that I use a lot just to make sure I can sort of avoid overspray in certain areas. But like I said, it's basically going from dark to light. So I just think about what's the farthest thing away in this sort of eye, this pupil, what's the darkest thing, and then I just start to layer things on top of each other as much as I can. And then if I need to go back, I can always go back with that darker color and just like cut those lines like I did with that pupil, and then start adding other elements to the eye as well. So I'm just, like I said, I'm just layering and layering and layering as much as I can, and don't worry about messing up. I mess up all the time, especially because I use so many colors. Sometimes I use a color that has the wrong value in an area that I thought it was going to work, but it doesn't work. So I have to go back and actually add another color on top of that. And then, like I said, because I sort of base the background in so many colors, I'm able to use the background into the piece as well as part of the flesh tone. So I use that as well, so I'm not having to sort of worry about covering up everything. But as you can see, as I move farther and farther away from the center of the eye, the pupil, all I'm doing is just carving things out in different areas and just having fun. And basically it's just going back and forth with these darker values, carving things out, using the color steps or the value steps to go to a lighter color, a lighter color, a lighter color, and then going back with the darker color, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, until you start to see everything just take shape, and there's volume, and it just starts to pop. So that's basically how I did the eyes for this piece right here that I did in Chicago of Danny K. Davis. And this is basically the same thing that I do for every element in sort of like a composition when it comes to using spray paint cans. I just go from dark to light, and I just worry about the values and building volume when it comes to sort of like, you know, shaping things up. So hopefully this helped out when it comes to the process, so it's not just a mystery. So rewind the video and play it back just so you can see again and again and again how I go about creating the volume, and then apply it to your own practice, and share in a comment questions that you have, things that you want to see me do a video about, because I definitely would love to sort of share as much knowledge as possible. And I will see you guys next time. All right, peace.